Woo-wee, what's going on YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. So you can see, if you've seen my preview on this knife, you can see that I have a pretty big love-hate relationship with it. I'll tell you what, man. This is the SOG SEAL XR, right? There's so much to love about this knife, and the problem is that there's so much not to. With these kind of plunger locks, where you pull back, right? Hey, I just figured something out. Maybe I'll hate this less. With these kind of plunger locks, it's easy to grab it and flip it like this. What happened was they designed a flipper, right? And I went to use the flipper, and you could hear it has a lot of movement in it, which I don't like. But I'm like, okay, the blade is locked in there, so I pulled down this tab, boop, and then I went to flip it, and it's like it takes a lot of power to get that flipped open, and then you have to remember to let go of the lock, otherwise it's not going to stay. Like I have other models that have this same kind of lock system that I can easily pop open, pop closed. This one, it doesn't close unless you hold it all the way down. If you let it go too early, it stops. But what I just found out just now, like literally just now, is this, if you pull really hard, will go. And the reason I found out is because while I was looking in the phone doing this, I noticed that moved. Normally, that wouldn't move. That would stay there. So I figured, okay, well, that means it comes down. You just have to press so hard that it leaves indents in your finger. Look at that. That's how hard I had to press down on that. And it wouldn't be so bad if that jimping wasn't so aggressive right there. That's pretty bad. Let's see. Okay, so with the thumb, it's better. But I'm still getting... Look at that dent. I'm still getting dented up. The jimping in this is terrible. So the SOG SEAL XR, the jimping is terrible but good at the same time, and I'll tell you why. So looking at it, this right here is basically the hammer of a 1911 pistol, right? That's a great look. This has an amazing shape to it. Everything about that is just nice. Do I care about this little guy right here? Not so much. If it wasn't on there, I wouldn't mind. But it wouldn't be a deal breaker. The awesome pocket clip, which I absolutely love, is mounted in a way that makes it part of the lanyard hole, which I really liked. I thought this, just looking at it, was super cool, right? All right, now, see, I'm not going to say how much I don't like the opening now, because I was going to go all about how I didn't like that, but now that's not true. But then you open it, and it gets even better looking, right? This thing looks beautiful. So the only issue I can have now that I figured that out, is this really sharp, and it's really right here on this corner. It is super sharp. And I don't mean sharp like, grandma's 14-year-old grandson who looks good going to the uncle's funeral. Not that kind of sharp. It's sharp as in it's painful to touch. Now, I'm finding that it feels less bad on the thumb than it does on the finger. The problem is the thumb isn't getting the same snap, and you have to hold the knife in an awkward grip. But that part's not so bad. So what's left for me not to like is literally just the feel. This is that glass reinforced nylon, they call it. It's pretty much like a plastic. Why on earth they would go with these scales, I have no idea. These suck. The glass reinforced nylon, there's two ways you can do it. One, you can have it with like this rubbery feel, which is like the Gerber LMF Infantry 2, or Gerber Gerber Infantry LMF 2, however they call it. That one has like a glass reinforced nylon, but it's soft and it's wonderful and it molds into the hand. This feels like cheap plastic. This feels like as cheap as you can get, and it's really annoying in the hand. Could they have done a micarta? Yeah, it would have been way better with micarta. But overall, I was blown away with the design, like the looks of it. This thing is stunning. I really like that. They did a jimping all the way around here, and this jimping is really aggressive, but because of the part of your hand it's hitting, it's okay. I mean, it's really nice. The jimping goes all the way around. Obviously, it stops here, but I think that is really nice. The only place where there's no texturing, and thank goodness they didn't texture this, is up here where you might be putting your fingers, because this texturing feels so crappy. Up here, you don't have that crappy feel, and it's all because of that knurled area. Because the material is so hard, that knurling makes it feel extremely cheap. Is it cheap? No, but it makes it feel that way. Oh gosh, see, even just at an angle, I get caught on that thing. I really don't like the opening. I don't. If it was just a flipper with maybe a push button lock, I think they would have gotten more out of this just by doing that and adding micarta. This knife would be literally, I would have zero things to find wrong about that. I would have zero things to dislike. And it literally just comes down to that. A push button and different scales. Boom. This knife would be one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite all time, just looking at it. It's that nice looking to me. I just think it's gorgeous. Not only is it gorgeous, but I mean, aside from when it's closed, it rattles. When it's open, it doesn't. Nope, nothing like that. So closed length is a very generous 5.3 inches. I love that. You have a 3.9 inch blade, which is 4 inches, which is perfect. My favorite size pocket knives are between 4 and 5 inch blades. I really like that. I like the bigger blade. It is a USA made knife. Opening mechanism. You have thumb hole, which I gotta say, I didn't know you could open it with a thumb hole. They shouldn't call that an opening mechanism. Okay, ready? There you go. Did you hear that break? That little snap? That's really happening. So, and it's digging the crap out of my thumb. So they call it, the thumb hole is an opening mechanism. They call it a kick. Okay, it's just a flipper. Is an opening mechanism. And then there's XR, and I'm assuming that's what they call this lock. So that's that. The finish is black Cerakote, black poly. That doesn't do anything for me as far as yay or nay on a knife. The blade steel, and we're going to get into a little bit of this, is S35VN, which is great. Great blade steel. Hardness, 5961 in the Rockwell. It is a black handle blade. Thickness is 0.19. It is really nice and thick, which I think big folders should be. The locking mechanism, okay, that is what they're calling XR. We'll have to figure out what that means. Belt clip is reversible low carry. Edge type is straight. It is a clip point. Thank you on that. And handle material is that crappy glass reinforced nylon. All right, so the XR lock, reliable and powerful, able to withstand up to 1,500 pounds of force. Provides ultimate built-in blade locking security. Okay, so apparently it's a really good lock. I mean, if it all holds up to that. And I'm getting used to it more. I wish it would, maybe if you take off the jimping here or just reduce it, it'll be better. I'm finding more and more, like, as I play with it, I'm liking it more and more. This whole thing isn't bothering me so much, but it's still absolutely killing my finger. That's just going to rip me open eventually. So, yeah, the steel is great. They talk about edge retention and this and that. Scabber used this thing, and I have to say, edge retention, I don't know, they're right here. There's like, let's see, I don't know if we're going to get it. but it feels like folding. It almost has like a feel like it's chipping right here, but it's just folding. So they talk about the edge hardness and the edge retention, but you have a whole spot right there where it's like gritty, where I'm going along the edge and it's like literally gritty. And I know Scab puts a hard use on it, more than what would be used on your everyday carry or any day in the field. But for a blade that says, it's maybe, who knows? Let's see. Let's make sure before I talk smack about the edge. Let's make sure maybe it's just debris. Could be sap or things like that. No, it's got a little tiny fold, so I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take out the fold. But from all the abuse Scab gave it, for it to just have that one little mark, okay, I'm going to say that's pretty good. I'm not complaining about that. I think all that's really left for me to complain about is the scales. Okay, that's it. That's it. Change the scales. If they have, I wish they had like an option where you can do a micarta. I would, man, I'd buy one. I honestly would. I wouldn't buy it with these scales, even though I freaking love this knife. And I know I sound like I don't. See, sometimes I just get stuck trying to open it. I sound like I don't love this knife, but I do. I am grinding. I literally, if I keep doing this, I guarantee I'm going to rip through my skin. I guarantee it. It is getting right here. It is really bad, like to a point where it's actually painful. So yeah, there are some things I would absolutely do different. Now here's the deal. This is like, I wouldn't call it a combat knife, but I would call it like a combat assist knife, something you could bring with you. Here's the deal. Clip points shouldn't be combat knives. Unless it's a folder and it's your bring along, like a straight up, curly up clip point, really shouldn't be combat knives. If you have like the modified clips where it's a little straight or the short clip, okay. But we use them for like multiple things. Like if you're doing EOD, you need to pry things out of the ground, like mines. If you need to crap, you got to be able to dig. If you're putting line underground, you got to be able to dig. So it's a trenching tool. It's like the K-bar. The K-bar's clip is way too clippy to be an actual combat knife. That's why it was the utility knife made open cans and things like that. That's great. The infantry, the LMF Gerber, is made for ripping through plane fuselage. That's what it is, and it's made the way it is so you don't get electrocuted. That's what that knife is made for. It's not a fighting knife, right? It's not like a all-round combat knife. It's not what it's designed for. It's designed to get you out of, oh, my plane just crashed and I need to get out. And like the Harsey folder, or not the Harsey folder, the Harsey one, where they said, oh, we need a new combat knife in the military, so we're going to redesign a combat knife. And basically they gave it the blade of the K-bar with a new handle. Everybody's done that. I have one right back there that I designed. I have one right in there that I designed. Same thing. It's same kind of blade, but it's designed to pay homage to a knife, not to replace one. Because if I was going to build a combat knife to replace a combat knife, I wouldn't make one that looks like the one I'm trying to replace, just with a different handle. That's stupid. The reason you need to replace that knife is because the front isn't good, right? This is my combat knife, the D-Bad military combat knife. This could never be replacing a combat knife because Geneva Convention says it can't have that. But I'll tell you what, if I did it without those serrations, this kind of knife right here would be a perfect example of what a combat knife should be. Good for trenching, double edge here, so it's good for stabbing, it's good for slashing, it's good for hacking. You can stab your way out of things because it does come to a point. Everything about this would be right as a combat knife and for a combat knife. Everything about it. I don't know why the Harsey blade, he gave it the K-bar blade and just changed the handle to replace the K-bar. I don't know. I don't get it. But that's what it is. Back to this thing. I have to say materials are spot on, except for the scales. All the jimping is spot on, except for right here. the mechanisms are super close. And I don't know if it's close because this is making it bad, or I don't know if it's close just because there's something wrong. And it does make noise, but let me tell you something. If you're thinking, oh, I can't bring that into a combat situation because it's noisy, that is the stupidest thing. I hear people say it all the time. Oh, if it rattles and blah, blah, blah. We're not ninjas. We're soldiers. When we're doing stuff, it's generally not pin drop quiet, right? We don't do things in pin drop. If you want to sneak up on somebody, you wait until there's noise, you sneak up on them, boom. There's your effect. There's your target. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to hone this thing up a little bit. I'm going to hit it on the whetstone, and I'm going to make it really, really nice. I'm just going to take away that little burr. And then on the next video, I'm going to take this thing out. I wanted to do it all in one video, but I had so much to say that if I take it out now, you're going to be at a 30-minute video, and I can't do that to you guys. So this is going to be just the part one of the SOG, what's it called? The SEAL XR. I am 100% full honesty, liking it more and more. The more I play with it, I'm still nowhere near liking this. I'm getting used to just using the XR. And I like that. I mean, it's kind of like hitting an auto open, except you have to control it. Right? So this is actually growing on me. This is growing into me. There's one little piece right here. It's so sharp. I don't know if maybe it's just this one. It escaped, the quality control. It should have been filed down a little bit more because there's one sharp edge on there. Or if it's just the way they make it for some reason. But, man, I'll tell you what. I'm liking it more and more. And I really want to use it because I have a feeling that this is freaking awesome. Awesome. Man, I'll tell you what, SOG. If you say, hey, we just made some Micarta scales that we can swap out. Whew, all right, swap one out. I'll send my money. All right, so that's it for this one. Sorry it ran this long, but there's just so much to say. And to SOG, I have to say this is great. That's great. I like that. Okay, so now I'm starting to really, really like it. I'm learning when and when not to let go. So that's not so bad. Does the flipper provide a guard? Well, the handle does. So it doesn't provide extra guard. Yeah, but with your finger on there, it's going to chew you up. If you're wearing gloves, though, I guess with gloves on, that little jimping might actually help. But even on their own website, it shows a guy with no gloves on. But that's it. All right, that's it for this one. Next one, we're using it, and we're getting kind of rainy today too, so maybe it's pretty good that we'll go next time. I'm gonna hone this thing up. We're gonna take it out, and I can pretty much guarantee that in use, aside from the actual feeling of the grip, and I don't mean the contours, but the texturing, this is going to be an absolute love for me. I know it is. All right, so that's it for this one. I am Donnie all day. Until next video.